a black girl.
She's black! She's black! She's black! Mama, she's black! What? She's like me! She's like...
Hey YouTube, thanks for coming to my channel, 2 Cents. This is where I give my 2 cents on different issues, and stick with me for the whole video because I'm going to talk about both sides of the coin, okay? So let's get right into it. So why in the world would so many people be concerned about the ethnicity of a fictional character, a mermaid to say the least? So that video in the very beginning, all those girls have something in common. They're black. Why does Ariel being black have so much significance to them? Well, I'll tell you why. Now stick with me because keep in mind I'm going to talk about both sides of the coin here. So the first side, the reason why Ariel being black means so much to black girls is because of the importance of image. There was a movie that came out in the year 1915 and it was called The Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation. This movie was played in the White House. I believe it was President Woodrow Wilson played it in the White House. But that movie had a very detrimental effect on the image of black people in America. Keep in mind, this is during the Reconstruction period. The Emancipation Proclamation happened in 1865. So black people were free, but there was a whole lot of very, very direct racism, a lot of lynchings going on, a lot of bad stuff. So this movie portrayed black people as very, very mischievous, very, very inept. They had white people playing black people with blackface. They portrayed black men as mindless, sexually driven animals who were simply out to prey upon the poor, blonde-headed, blue-eyed damsel in distress. And who comes in as the hero to save the day? The KKK. So a lot of people hadn't really had any exposure to black people because the Emancipation Proclamation happened in 1865. So a lot of people born after that, like, they didn't deal with black people because of the extreme segregation. So the image that was portrayed in media is how a lot of people viewed black people, even though, regardless of if it was true or not. Okay. After that, there are a lot of images of black people in media that have been very, very negative. Not saying that other races haven't been portrayed negatively as well, but I'm talking about one thing specifically, and that's the portrayal of black people in media. So you see these images that are going across the screen. These are from cartoons that a lot of them are kind of banned now, are really, really hard to find. But they were normal back in the day. They portrayed black people as mindless animals, mindless baboons who didn't have enough brain cells to rub together to form a coherent thought. We were not viewed as people. We were viewed as less than animals, literally less than animals. So the reason why those black girls are so happy and surprised to see that Ariel is black is because black people are generally not that accustomed to seeing positive portrayals of ourselves in media. Now, a lot of people will say, well, those cartoons are back from the 1940s. That two things can be true at the same time. Okay. So just because those cartoons are from past decades does not mean there have been a lot of positive portrayals of black people in media. So you don't see little white girls looking at Snow White, the live action Beauty and the Beast, or Sleeping Beauty, any of those Disney princesses, and being surprised and say, whoa, she looks like me. Because it's normal. The default has been white. But all the Disney princesses before Tiana, I believe, Tiara or Tiana, whatever her name is, she was the first black Disney princess. But the rest of them are white, and there's been a very, very good amount of them. So it's very surprising and it's peculiar for little black girls to see basically a version of themselves portrayed as positive and royalty. It's exceedingly rare. Okay. Stick with me. I'm going to deal with both sides of the coin. So I find it very interesting how people who say that they don't see color, someone a lot of us have probably heard before. People say they don't see color, but yet when it comes to Ariel, all of a sudden they see 20/20 vision. It's like, we see color all of a sudden. She's got melanin. Look, she has locks. That's not my Ariel. So the same people who say I don't see color can see that Ariel is black. How does that work? When someone tells me that they don't see color, my question is, what do you do at a stoplight? Yeah, we see color. Nobody, unless you're colorblind, but even then you can see how people behave differently. People move differently. Cultures are different. So people don't see color, but they see Ariel. But ironically, with another character, a historical figure, people can turn a blind eye to his color swap. Man who was born in the Middle East a little over 2,000 years ago. Very, very popular man. He's got a best-selling book out. Any guess who it is? Jesus. I've had conversations with people about Jesus, and I'm like, can you help me understand how a man who was born and raised in the Middle East in a lifestyle that people had over 2,000 years ago, a very rough lifestyle, and he turned out white? Why are the portrayals of him white? And a lot of the response that I've gotten from white people has been, well, it's just his message that matters. Why are you focused on color? I don't see the color. It's not a big deal. Keep in mind, all of this is said after the swap has occurred. Okay. So with Jesus, we just got it. We're just supposed to accept it, not bat an eye. But with Ariel, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, she's black. Like, that can't be. That's not my Ariel. How does that work? I'm trying to understand the logic behind that. So Jesus, it's all right, but Ariel, it's not. All right, now let's deal with the other side of the coin. Although I believe that positive representation of ethnic minorities is a good thing in media, the manner in which it has been done, I believe, is extremely lazy and also detrimental to what people are trying to accomplish by doing it in the first place. Here's why. People go to see movies to escapist entertainment. These movies that are remakes are supposed to elicit feelings of nostalgia. Nostalgia is basically, it's like it's being exposed to something that gives you a feeling of connection to the past. When you bring in a character that is a remake of an old movie, the original Little Mermaid came out in 1989. So this is supposed to be the new Little Mermaid for this generation. But people who were kids in the late 80s and early 90s are going to go see this, trying to recreate that feeling of nostalgia that they felt when they saw the original. So people don't go to nostalgic movies for something new necessarily. They don't go to nostalgic movies to see a character that doesn't look anything like the character that they grew up with. So just because someone is upset that Ariel is now black does not mean that they are necessarily racist. They could just be attached to the original image that they are used to of this character. Disney has done something that is extremely lazy by doing the old switcheroo. Well, we care about black people, so we're going to make Ariel black. Ta-da! It's not that simple. There are good opportunities with all the creative minds at Disney. You don't think that they could have made a spinoff of an originally black mermaid and it wouldn't have been somewhat popular? Like, you can't force the market to like what you want it to like. And I really believe that making characters that are well established all of a sudden black or changing things about them really says that the people who make these movies don't believe that original black characters would even be accepted or popular. And it's ridiculous to me. I'll take Superman, for example. There were talks of they were going to make a new Superman movie with Michael B. Jordan playing the lead role, and it was supposed to be a period piece, and he's obviously supposed to be black. But the thing is, they were going to make Clark Kent black. Now I'm going to reveal my nerd side a little bit. In the DC universe, there are different versions of Superman in different universes. There's a multiverse. In one universe, there's Clark Kent. That's the main Superman that we're all familiar with. The tall, 6'2", white, Kansas born and bred, all American dude, blue eyes. So then in another universe, there is a black Superman called Val-Zod. He's black. He also came from Krypton. His black family he came on a ship as well. And he's black. He has social anxiety disorder. He's taught to mask his powers. So he stays inside all the time. And that's why he has social anxiety disorder, because he's not used to being around the general public. There's actually a black Superman. And instead of creating a movie about the black Superman, the actual black Superman, they're going to make Clark Kent black, change him to being black. It's the most lazy thing ever. And I think that they've backtracked on it, and they're going to do like a HBO Max show with that instead of making the next Superman movie a black Clark Kent. The fans have been crying for Henry Cavill to come back. Like, they want that image of Superman, and wanting the Superman that looks the same as past Supermen. That's not racist. It is not racist. There is a trend in Hollywood of swapping characters' race, sexual identity, gender, anything you want to think of, and they shame people for not accepting these characters because they don't look like the original. They're called racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, any type of phobic, because people just want the character to look like the original. And it's absolute ludicrous in my opinion, and it's very, very lazy movie making. The biggest plot twist of a character cannot be making them black or changing their gender. It's ridiculous. It'd be like making Peter Parker black all of a sudden instead of making a separate movie about Miles Morales. There's nothing wrong with some characters staying their original race. If they made a remake of Black Panther starring Ben Shapiro, how would you feel? They made another X-Men movie and the character of Storm was played by Jennifer Aniston. It wouldn't look really good, would it? The upcoming Blade movie, let's say instead of Mahershala Ali, they got Brad Pitt. No, I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see it. So do I think that it's good to have positive representation and portrayal of ethnic minorities in movies? Yes. Do I want to see a black Clark Kent? No. Do I want to see a Val-Zod movie? Yeah. Bring it. I'll watch it. So two things can be true at the same time. It can be good to represent ethnic minorities in movies, but it can also not be a good idea to force feed people a new character. Daniel Craig is done being James Bond. So now a lot of different causes are trying to attach their wagon to that character of James Bond and make him their own. The guy who played Q in the last couple of James Bond films, he said that the new James Bond, he said we need a gay James Bond. Need. N-E-E-D. Need. So, why? James Bond has been basically the same in all of his films ever since his inception in the Ian Fleming novels in the early 1900s. I think it was made in the 20s or 30s. But he's been a British dude, white, suave, debonair, womanizer, Like, he's always been the same, living life on the edge, like a blunt instrument of violence. Like, there's been different portrayals of him. Like, Timothy Dalton was a little bit different. Roger Moore was a little softer. Sean Connery, the original, he was like, he played that role in real life, basically. Daniel Craig has brought his own flair to it, kind of along the lines of Timothy Dalton. But you hear this term Bond girl. Like, so James Bond's gay, now we're gonna have the term Bond guy. Like, you're making something, it's not gonna be the same person. James Bond has never ever done that. So encapsulating an agenda and a cause inside of a character that has been around for decades is not a good strategy for making money at the box office. And this strategy has not been working for Hollywood, and I don't think it's gonna work. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Let me know what do you think. Put it in the comments. Tell me what you think. If you like my if you want to hear more, see more content, like, subscribe, comment. Yeah, put in the comments what you think I should do another video on. If there's another movie or just a current event. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. So thank y'all for watching. Bye.